Again, we take the lakeboat time machine and travel back across Great Lakes maritime history. This time we stop in the port of Buffalo. It is Saturday, August 19th, 1900. Here we see the city ship canal. It's a busy place, and there's a lot going on in this view. We'll start here with the wooden steamer, City of Venice. She was launched on June 22nd, 1892 at Bay City, Michigan. The boat was one of the famed shipbuilder James Davidson's giant oak vessels. Using a lattice of steel strapping, steel band arches, and webbing of steel cables for strength, Davidson managed to break the 300-foot limit for wooden vessels. The City of Venice was 326 feet long, 43 feet in beam, and 26 foot in depth. When she was launched, it was boasted that she could carry 85,000 bushels of wheat. On this trip, she arrived in Buffalo on Friday, August 17, 1900, with 100,000 bushels of oats taken aboard at Cleveland. We see her here on her way out of Buffalo with 3,100 tons of coal and headed for Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Let's take this rare opportunity to get a close look at one of Davidson's giant oak lake boats. Focusing on her stern, you can actually see her planking. Notice this fellow, taking in the fine August weather and relaxing against the boat's fresh water tank. Here is something which is quite common aboard wooden lake boats, but often overlooked. It is a series of 24 buckets mounted atop the boat's skylight. There are 12 on each side, and they're filled with sand. If you're wondering what they are, they're fire buckets. In case of a fire starting atop the deck house or on the decks below, either by sparks from the smokestack or from some other source, these buckets of sand were to be thrown onto the fire or the burning area and smother the flames. Stepping back a bit, we can see another interesting fact. This is her starboard lifeboat, but her port lifeboat appears to be missing. In fact, that lifeboat is still aboard. It's simply being kept here. It is there because often, when in port, a steamer needed to put a crew over the side for assorted reasons, and they didn't have a small skiff, so they could use this lifeboat. Additionally, considering that most fires started aft and readily consumed the lifeboats, this positioning protected one of the boats from such an event. It was with fire prevention in mind that Davidson encased his fire hold in its own steel compartment. Highlighted here, the fire hold is seen in blue, the boiler is in red, and the smokestack is in brown. These two large vents were not only for providing fresh air for the stokers who were shoveling the coal, but mostly served to provide a draft for the efficient burning of coal under the boilers. This crewman could care less. He's off watch and enjoying the ride while sitting on the boat's rail. Likewise, these two guys are also riding on the rail. That must have been a thing back then. Looking real close at the bow, we can see this. It's Captain Ainsworth on the flying bridge with his hand on the whistle pole directing his boat. Seated next to him is likely Mrs. Ainsworth. By the way, folks, when you hear me use the captain's names, I'm not making them up. They are listed in the Customs Office log, which was published in the local newspapers at Buffalo, New York. There's a lot of traffic ahead for Captain Ainsworth in the city of Venice today. There's this boat, the Clarion, plus this little canal boat, and this package freighter, and this one with her arches. In the distance, There's this steamer taking on fuel. And this boat peeking around the corner. And this boat heading out onto open Lake Erie. Each of these boats has a story and a history of its own, and we'll detail them in part 2 of this video. So stay tuned for part 2.